Duck would end up getting brutally gunned down by members and affiliates of O-Block in a brazen, broad daylight attack in Chicago's most upscale shopping district, located in the Gold Coast neighborhood, right in front of the Dolce & Gabbana store. Now, if you want to see a deep dive all into the details of the murder of FBG Duck and the aftermath, you can go and check out my 2.5-hour video just on that topic. But for the purpose of this video, let's keep things brief and focused on Durk's connection to the crime. Because right after Duck's murder, Durk would once again be caught right in the middle of an Instagram live when fans would begin to barrage him with comments about Duck's passing, with Durk acting like nothing had ever happened, showing himself hopping off a private jet in good spirits while completely ignoring the imploring messages about the death of his biggest enemy.
Seen fans make a plan, watch them score in the mail. You know, 39 years I heard them crying to sell. Boy, getting money right up. I took a picture on my block, they think I'm back in the field.
Von, on the other hand, would come out with the most unconvincing statement, trolling the whole world, saying how the two had settled their differences right before Duck's passing, even adding sarcastic lines about how he was going to be thinking of Duck every step of the way, and also making snide remarks about how Duck had been dissing his dead friends and family members. Meanwhile, as time went on, the feds would get involved in Duck's murder investigation and track down the entire route that the killers had taken to the murder scene, tracing their origin back all the way to O-Block, with surveillance footage literally filming the entire crime, with them driving from O-Block to the murder, committing it, and then driving back again. However, even with all of this evidence, it would be over a year before the feds would even be able to move in with their indictment, but eventually, in September 2021, the feds would indict 5 people for the murder of Duck. Charles Liggins, aka C Murder, Kenneth Robertson, aka Kenny Mack, DeCarlos Offord, aka Los, Christopher Thomas, aka C-Thang, and Marcus Smart, aka Moowop, as well as another man, Ralph Turpin, aka Teasy, who had been the person that spotted Duck and gave up his location. With such a clear trail left behind by the so-called O-Block 6, also known as the Sloppy 6, it was inevitable that they would also eventually be found guilty, and all 6 are ultimately facing mandatory life sentences, while a 7th person associated with the murder, Zell Munna from O-Block, would sadly end up taking his own life before the FBI could indict him. However, during and after the trial, the discussion would also focus on the possible culpability of Von and Lil Durk in Duck's murder, particularly as the prosecution's legal documents would claim that Turpin, aka Teasy, had allegedly called someone after he spotted Duck in the shopping district, asking around to get put in contact with Lil Durk's brother and manager, D-Thang, who was coincidentally no longer alive by the time these arrests took place. The indictment would also mention a person named as Individual E, who pretty clearly appears to be Lil Durk, being listed as a high-ranking member of the BDs, with these details suggesting that even the FBI wasn't ruling out the possibility of Lil Durk's personal involvement in the hit on FBG Duck, but avoiding naming him specifically. In fact, based on these documents, some YouTubers would even claim that D-Thang would have been indicted too if he hadn't been killed in June 2021. Furthermore, it would be revealed that there had allegedly been up to a $100,000 bounty placed on Duck's head leading up to the murder, with many pointing out to a vlog filmed in O-Block a couple months before the murder took place that showed Von giving out wads of cash to other members as potential proof of this bounty being handed down. Furthermore, the person placing this bounty allegedly being someone who bought custom-made chains for O-Block members. Indeed, the Fed's investigation would also focus on the so-called O-Block chains that King Von had actually purchased for many members of his set both before and after Duck's murder, with many of the alleged killers of Duck also receiving one, as Von would apparently spend over $100,000 to buy altogether 16 O-Block chains. The timing of these purchases and the distribution of the chains to prominent members of O-Block, including the alleged killers, appeared to symbolize loyalty and respect within the gang's ranks, as well as possibly being a reward for a job well done with regards to the Duck murder. For example, Moowop could be seen with Von at the jewelry store shopping for additional O-Block chains a mere 6 days after the murder, while others like C Murder could also be seen posing with the chain on his social media just a few days after the murder. Interestingly, also Lil Durk himself seemingly received one of these chains, while Boss Top was alleged to be one of the leaders of O-Block alongside Von during the trial, with Top actually describing the chain as a hood trophy. But wearing the O-Block chain was by no means Lil Durk's only connection to Duck's murder, because in the years following Duck's passing, Lil Durk would diss FBG Duck several times in his music. For example, in his December 2020 song Redman, Durk would mention how he knows someone who died with a famous name, but his friends still haven't slid for him, this possibly being a reference to the fact that FBG Duck's set, STL-EBT, aka Tucaville, would seemingly not retaliate following his murder, with apparent posts circulating suggesting that Duck's people were frustrated that nobody actually got revenge for him. However, the more clear-cut disses towards FBG Duck would start in early 2021, as Lil Durk would release the brutally named song Should've Ducked, together with Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty, where Lil Durk raps how he gets so high, he gets high as Duck, a reference to Duck being dead and in heaven. As Duck's mother, Lashina Weekly, aka Mama Duck, would hear Durk play the song in late 2020, she would hop on social media to point out how Durk was monetizing her son's death, whilst also mentioning how Lil Durk had not been mentioning FBG Duck while he was alive, seemingly unaware of just how far back the animosity between these two goes.
Now he wanna get high. He about to get high like Duck. Durk!
He hurt. He hurt.
Well, he better take that who made the V-Roy gone, not my mother son, cause he ain't do it. Remember they had a song together. Remember they had their differences. Study one for the industry. This is proof. Y'all really showing. Y'all rich out mixing in my mother son. Y'all rich out mixing in Tuka. Show your craft. Do something else besides this and music. Show mother that you really could go pop. Like my son was trying to do. He was trying to cross over. Yo, sitting up here mixing in somebody who ain't getting too about you. He was right. You probably did Illuminati him. You probably did send him to get bodied. Now you study this in my son. And it's Christmas. Beautiful Christmas. That don't make no sense. How y'all used to be as one. Y'all got y'all ass in the industry and blackball all the GDs. Trying to anyway, I'ma just keep that shit real. Don't make no sense. Why is this man mixing in my son? He never did it while he was alive. And if he did do it, he sneak this and do it. He sneak this and do it. He always went around it. Oh, now you're so freely. You can say my son's name. He knocked your op, baby. Go out to the mother who got your sick. You feeling like us. We ought to unite and show these or whatever the case may be. You coming for the wrong baby.
The dissing would continue only a few months later on OTF's group album Loyal Bros, which would interestingly feature the infamous O Block chain on the cover. And in his verse for the song Dying to Hit 'Em, Durk would make another rather obvious reference to Duck getting killed outside the Dolce & Gabbana store, saying that the ops get dropped right at designer stores. In June 2021, a few months before O Block members would be hit with the indictment, Lil Durk would release a joint album together with Atlanta rapper Lil Baby titled Voice of the Heroes, which would include the song Still Runnin' featuring Meek Mill. And in his verse, Lil Durk would rap several bars that seemed to insinuate people close to him being behind Duck's murder, as he would say how his team might have taken a few L's, but in Chicago they're winning for sure, before making a poorly disguised reference to FBG Duck, which is only covered by the sound of a gunshot, whilst also mentioning how Duck had nowhere to go when he tried to run and failed ducking when the shooting started. Lil Durk would seemingly even enjoy making creative disses towards Duck in his personal life. In March 2022, one of the world's most famous country music stars, Morgan Wallen, who had been collaborating with Lil Durk, would respond to one of Durk's posts with a bunch of duck emojis. As drill fans would see this, they would quickly check Morgan in the comments. After that, Morgan Wallen would publish an apology, saying that he had no clue that he was disrespecting the dead, and saying that Durk would always talk to him about going duck hunting, with fans quickly realizing that Durk had seemingly been trolling Morgan Wallen behind the scenes, telling him that duck hunting was one of his favorite hobbies. Wallen, who is actually an avid duck hunter himself, had no idea what this dark alternative meaning might have meant to Lil Durk. Fans would actually even make note of Durk's many references to FBG Duck, with memes being made joking about how hard Durk seemed to work on coming up with complicated and intricate ways to diss FBG Duck. However, in November 2022, Lil Durk would seemingly have a change of heart, as he would announce to Rolling Stone magazine that he was done dissing the dead. This announcement, interestingly, taking place only a few months after the murder of Lil Pab that Durk would eventually be indicted for. But anyway, in January 2023, FBG Duck's mother would comment on the case against his son's killers, saying how she was not going to be satisfied until everyone in the murder would face justice, before making a special emphasis on the word everyone. And in a now deleted comment, she would further specify how she found it unbelievable that Lil Durk wouldn't also get locked up for the murder. However, a few months later, she would seemingly change her mind, instead contacting Durk via Instagram to congratulate him on the anti-violence initiatives that he was working on in Chicago with his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, and asking if Durk would also meet with her Mothers of Peace Foundation. But perhaps, rather unsurprisingly, it doesn't seem that Durk ever took her up on her offer, and it soon seemed that Mama Duck would have a change of heart again, taking aim at Durk with a vengeance. As in October 2024, FBG Duck's mother, together with the mother of his child and another man, the latter two who both got shot during FBG Duck's murder, would actually sue Lil Durk, King Von's estate, and several record labels who had done business with OTF for the wrongful death of FBG Duck. The rap media would report on this explosive wrongful death lawsuit. This civil case filed by a law firm on behalf of FBG Duck's family alleges that Lil Durk, together with King Von and their affiliated groups OTF and O Block, conspired to kill Duck and then profit from his murder.
It's been 4 years since Chicago rapper FBG Duck was killed, and his mother's pain is still raw.
Not a day goes by that I don't think about him and the life that was taken from him.
FBG Duck, whose real name was Carlton Weekly, was gunned down on the Gold Coast by a group of masked men as he waited to enter the Dolce & Gabbana store August of 2020. His girlfriend, Cache Williams, and another man also wounded in the attack. They joined Weekly's mother in filing a lawsuit Wednesday, alleging rap superstar Lil Durk had a hand in the gang-related killing, wanting to take out Weekly. Their years-long rivalry playing out in a series of violent drill rap songs.
Our complainant law lays out that a $100,000 bounty was placed on the life of FBG Duck to have him killed.
The lawsuit names a wide-ranging list of defendants, including Lil Durk, his record label Only the Family, or OTF, and other larger labels that partnered with OTF, like Sony and UMG Interscope.
The lawsuit would make several serious claims about Durk and OTF, which in light of Durk's recent criminal charges could be incredibly damning for him financially, such as claiming that OTF is actually the media outpost of the O-Block criminal organization, and that prior to being incorporated as a music label, OTF was actually a collective of gangs consisting of O-Block 600, Lamron, THF, and other Black Disciple sets, as well as saying that OTF, the label, had acted as a conglomerate for these street gangs and a hub for their activity. The suit would then claim that OTF, the label, knew, or should have known, that the gang members that they had signed and employed were engaging in acts of serious violence and criminal activity. One of the prime examples being King Von himself, who the lawsuit would claim had taken part in robberies, assaults, and batteries in the presence of Lil Durk, with this being a probable reference to the 2019 incident in Atlanta, where Durk and Von were charged with attempted murder. One of the key claims of the lawsuit would seemingly be that Durk and Von had directly taunted FBG Duck before and after his death, and that the goal of this taunting was to expand the brand of OTF and to further the criminal enterprise of O-Block. Perhaps most damningly, the suit also claimed that Lil Durk and his brother D-Thang knew about the alleged $100,000 bounty that Von had put on Duck, and that D-Thang facilitated the events that led to Duck's murder, and that Lil Durk, King Von, and the O-Block 6 entered into agreements with each other to orchestrate the wrongful death of Duck to promote their commercial interests in selling music. These are some serious allegations, but whether or not they'll be able to actually prove this in court is another matter. Some of the claims, particularly the claims about the music, might be a little problematic, given the fact that there had been a lot of dissing between both FBG Duck and Lil Durk and Von, a beef which was very much a two-way street when they were all alive, something that both sides had engaged in for around a decade. In fact, you could even make the argument that FBG Duck not only started the dissing between him and Lil Durk, but also made the more vicious diss song, calling out numerous dead rivals from the BD side of the war, and obviously profiting from it too. But then again, FBG Duck is dead, and Lil Durk is still alive, and there's a big difference between diss songs and bullets. But on the other hand, OTF should probably have no less obligations than any other large media company. For example, what if it would turn out that CNN had hired some serious criminals to work for them and knowingly allowed their employees to murder people so that they had a constant supply of viral news clips, allowing them to rake in millions of dollars? It's probably safe to say that such a media company would not only get sued, but there's a fair chance to say that they would lose and people would go to prison. However, for now, it remains to be seen what, if anything, will come of this lawsuit. But the connection between FBG Duck's murder and Lil Durk seems to be something that's more than a coincidence. But what is clear though, is that the murder of FBG Duck was only the first of many that have now been connected to Lil Durk, and the following year in 2021, before the arrest of those responsible for Duck's murder, Lil Durk would end up experiencing a death of someone very close to him, someone who was allegedly involved in that murder of FBG Duck, his brother D-Thang, a loss which Durk took incredibly personally, and according to online rumors and recent paperwork, incited Durk to put money in the street to get revenge, money that would apparently lead to not just one, but 3 people losing their lives.